Okay, I have a Itasca Winnebago 2000 37G model, and I'm replacing the waste tank sensors for the inside coach panel that tells you how full your Blackwater tank is. This is the Blackwater tank right here, and it's got the sensors there on the top ledge. You can see two of them with the yellow wire going to it. And then down in the back on the lower level, it's difficult to show you. There's a lot of obstacles in the way, but you can just barely see that there's two others down there. So they're going to be difficult to get to. There's a lot of obstacles in the way, including the front panel that's no longer on here. I've already removed that. This is the front panel. To remove that, I had several screws to remove, and one at the top here. Even though there was 3 holes, there was only 1 screw there. You have to disconnect pretty much all the plumbing off the back, the wires, etc., and then you can remove this panel out. The panel connected inside this compartment, so the screws were on the outside, including these screws for the struts on both sides. I had to remove strut screws as well. I put them back in just to hold the hatch up so it's not hitting me in the head. But so removing those screws along with all of the wires for the water pump and the light and the hoses, etc., I now have access to the sensors up here. Now the old sensors kind of fall apart, rotted rubber, etc. This is what the whole thing looked like, other than a piece of rubber that's missing. This is a little brass nut on the end that fell off as I'm learning how to do this. They fell off inside the tank. So I might not get those out, but the next time I flush the tank, it'll probably just come out on its own. So for getting the next ones out, I'm gonna unscrew the screw the best I can. It'll stick out like this. And then I'm going to push the screw in to stretch the rubber and then get behind the rubber and pull with some pliers. I'm hoping that's going to do the trick so they don't break apart in the Blackwater tank. The new screw looks like this, or the new sensor. It looks a little different. So, but it fits in the hole nicely. You tighten the first nut down and it compresses the rubber in the hole. Don't over tighten it. You just want it to not leak. And then you put the ring terminal between the two nuts and tighten that. Once I get that done, then I'll be able to close this compartment back up. And while you're in here doing this, it's recommended that you replace your gate valves. So there's the Blackwater gate valve, and mine are not very well reachable, so they have the cable handle on it, so you can pull it remotely. Behind the gate valve, close to the tank, you can see a coupler. Mine was leaking Blackwater. It took me a while to find where it was coming from, but that was it. That coupler was loose. So make sure you check your couplers to your tank to make sure that they're tight, and or replace them if necessary. The Blackwater manifold connects to the Graywater manifold. So this is the Graywater gate valve right here, and it points to the center of the rig, and its coupler that goes around and over to the Graywater tank. So check those coupler clamps as well, make sure they're tight. The other thing is, if you're going to spend all this time getting in here, I would recommend that you replace some valves. I had, or some fittings as well. The city water fill has a check valve in it to keep water from coming back out if you have your water pump on and no city water. Mine was actually dripping and leaking, so I bought a new one. It's easier to replace this stuff when you have the panel off than when it's on. Waste tank flush was just a straight through port, so that's no big deal. This was a valve that would allow you to, if you're connected to city water, you could run off from city water, or if you turn the valve this way, it would fill your water tank for you. And then of course switches, and this one I replaced. So the last time I was in this panel, I replaced the gate valves tightened the clamps and replaced this. This time I'm going to replace the water fill port that has the check valve in it. That's all I'm replacing because everything else is good to go. But if you're going to spend time and get in here, I would recommend replacing things that wear out, including I put an LED light in here. I've converted the whole motorhome to LED to consume less power from the batteries, and I'm currently running on solar with lithium batteries. Anyways, so this is part one, and putting those valves in. Just since this is in the picture, some of you may ask, what is this? This is a macerator pump. So this connects up to the main drain for the black water and gray water. So when this is connected up here, I have an on-off switch right here that I can turn it on and off. And this will actually suck water out of the black water tank. It has a blender in it, so it macerates it, puts it into a 1-inch hose, and then this 1-inch hose I extend up to my home sewer cleanout pipes, and that's kind of a higher elevation than the motorhome. So this actually allows me to clean out my tanks right here at my house and not go to sewage dump. I spent the time and money to install this, and it worked well. However, I have now purchased a composting toilet, Airhead, and that will arrive in about 5 weeks or so. So I will no longer need this. So this is going to be removed, and the black water tank is only going to become a gray water tank. So no more toilet attached to it. It only has the bathroom sink connected to it. So it'll just share some of the load of the gray water. And because I'm using a composting toilet, I will use probably 1/3 less of fresh water due to flushes of the toilet. So it'll allow us to boondock longer. So this is the end of part one. I'm not going to be able to video how I get these sensors out, but like I said, I'm going to try to loosen the screw up as much as I can, then push the screw in to stretch the rubber to make it narrow or smaller in diameter, and then try to pull it out by the rubber collar and then replace them. So it's going to be difficult to get in here, and I'm kind of a big guy, so I don't have a way to hold the camera so you can see what I'm doing. But I'll try to bring up another video for a part two to show you how it's done. If I don't, it's just going to look the same as it is now, except for with new sensors. So that's it in a nutshell.